ProFM.com.
For lack of a better... Special financing.
HJY, 5 o'clock triple shot. It's mandatory Metallica, brought to you by Toyota of Smithfield. Hop online, check them out, toyotaofsmithfield.com. Kicked it off with Wherever I May Roam, then Bread Fan right there. Now we're going to tie a nice little bow on this mandatory Metallica with Fight Fire with Fire. It's HJY. I guess I should have let go in.
Paul monitored it. The trouble.
Look, he sees 2 people a day. His 2 body men, that's it. He sees 2 people a day.
Iowa's a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but you're...
So, folks, you want to nominate a Democrat, a lifelong Democrat, a proud Democrat, and a Biden-Obama Democrat, because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me, we can only reelect Donald Trump.
I hope you'll all join us. Together, I think we can win back the House, increase it, and flip the Senate.
A large portion of the union workers are young enthusiasts, and you are actively trying to diminish the Second Amendment right until we are done.
No one is in a position where they have a significant financial disability as a consequence of this particular crisis. We can do that. We did that. We've been through this before with the coronavirus. We've been through this before. We've been through this before with dealing with the viruses at the N1H15, as well as what happened in Africa.
One way they get inspired is by great leaders who are, calling us to appeal to our better angels, from Abraham Lincoln to all the way, to FDR to John Kennedy, Barack, etc.
We have to take care of the cure. That will make the problem worse no matter what. No matter what.
You're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know. Sorry. I learned that actually covering your White House.
Actually, that's true, but fortunately I'm in my home, but that's okay. Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
Donald Trump was
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, probably best I don't. And what we have done is the reason why most of the world has repaired to us, particularly after World War II, is because of who we are as a nation. We, the people, we hold these truths, etc. Sounds corny, but it's real. If we were setting up an education system for the first time in our history, as we did at the turn of the late 1800s, we would not say 12 years was enough. 12 years is not enough to live in the second quarter of the 21st century.
What is President Trump's level of culpability? What's his level of responsibility, say, for the illness and fatalities we're witnessing every few minutes these days?
I'd put it slightly differently. What is his responsibility, and what, if there wasn't, allocating responsibility is, I'll let history do that. We need to get direct cash relief payments out to as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. Again, this may sound straightforward, but no American should have to wait a single minute so Donald Trump can put his signature on his physical check.
Former Vice President and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, thank you so much for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for giving me the time.
Thank you.
I don't wonder where I am.
Now I know. When they ask me, where is Joe Biden, I say he was on the 2 p.m. show on MSNBC.
People say all the time, oh, we got to get the vice president out of the basement. He's fine in the basement. 2 people see him a day, his 2 body people. That's that. And let Trump keep doing what Trump's doing. It's hard for the vice president to break through.
And he gets to sit down there quietly with no answers and a track record that's going to be gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and everywhere we begin to look, not particularly favorable to anything. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that the fine-tooth comb will probably be used by you, right, and some other outlets perhaps, but not many in the traditional mainstream media are going to scrutinize Joe Biden's record in any way, shape, or form. We've seen that now to this point, that he could say literally whatever he wants and not be challenged. For instance, the president won't leave office even if he loses, and I'll have the military protect him, and he's not going to leave, right? And that is just stuff that even like Alex Jones hears and says, wait a minute, that's out of control. That's way out there. But he gets a pass because he can say whatever he wants, because obviously people want to see him get elected. But to Mark's point before, I mean, picture this parallel universe for a moment in terms of what we're seeing in Seattle. Let's say a large mob took over a neighborhood in, say, Brooklyn, right? And in fact, the mob isn't a mob, it's the Covington Catholic kids, and they're wearing the MAGA hats. And this time, you arm them, okay? And they force the police to evacuate their own building. And then they construct walls, which are bad apparently, and then they patrol the area and say who gets in, who gets out. It's their own company and their country. And they call themselves Chad, which of course doesn't stand for the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. This time it's the Covington High School Autonomous Zone. What would the media reaction be? Because this story is largely being ignored. And I know what the media reaction would be, because I'm old enough to remember, I don't know, a month ago, and you played it in your montage before, when some protesters took over, or at least, for a little bit anyway, the State House in Michigan, and some were armed. And the only word that I could think of in terms of the media coverage was, maybe it's 2 words, I'm not really sure what the answer is on this one, freak out. And we're not seeing the freak out anymore because people agree with the message overall, defund the police and all these things. So yeah, what we're seeing in terms of Seattle, when you compare it to what happened in Michigan, you could teach a class on what media bias is. That's exactly what it looks like.
The bias is so palpable, so real, and I'm not overstating it, Mark Simone. Every second, minute, hour, 24-hour day, every day since this guy, even before he was elected. And now we learned a lot of how they tried, people in power, at the highest levels of power, tried to subvert a free and fair election. We learned that there was no Russia collusion. We see the double standard, quid pro quo, Joe Zero experience on it. And now it's this, and I watch city after city after city. No, universally, there's not one person I know that ever defended what happened to George Floyd. Not one.
No, it's absolutely the single worst cop I've ever seen in my life. Ray Kelly, the greatest police commissioner in America, was on the show today. He said in his 30, 40 years, the worst thing he's ever seen. That's a problem with the protesting. He's busy protesting the people who agree with him for the most part. And I hope this protest isn't wasted. You got America's attention. Use it for something specific. Get specific changes and things that you can get institutionalized. It's fun to rename streets and paint things on the street, but that's just symbolic. It's not going to make any real change. So don't waste the protest. Get something accomplished with it.
Well, yeah, okay. So, but how do you stop an effort when they have a veto-proof, city council in Minneapolis that says we're going to defund the police? What do you do when you have a Seattle mayor that is calling this a summer of love and the festive zone and every other bizarre thing that is being said about all of this? I mean, I'm reading this daily and I'm like, you're kidding me, right? We're going to call it a festive zone. We're going to say that it's like a big street party when you just take over city blocks, take over precincts. Cops don't go in. The mayor doesn't care. The governor doesn't care. They don't want to get involved at all, seemingly.
Well, I think this is what kills Democrats in November. They don't realize that yet, but this wave has started. They look at these crazy left-wing progressive Bill de Blasio type mayors. This Minneapolis guy, this Doogie Howser, the left-wing mayor, the mayor of Seattle, just gets control. And then you see Joe Biden, who just looks too slow, too out of control. Donald Trump said it once. The president said, this is the perfect candidate for these guys. This is what the big donors want. They'll put them in a nursing home and they'll run the country. And people are going to start to realize that, even before the debates happen.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, Joe Biden isn't running for president, guys. This Mark just perfectly stated. They put him in. He's a vessel to get in because maybe he could bring in moderates in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin, those key states that Donald Trump took